Aloha. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today on this beautiful day where we're going to be talking about relationships. My name is Gina. If you're watching the replay, Gina Hansen. I live in Hawaii and I do energy healing work and coaching. And I'm so blessed to have a beautiful array of friends here. We've got Corey, Heike, and Evelina here. Maybe more will jump in later. I'm doing these weekly Zooms to educate and teach people about energy. Today, we're specifically talking about relationships because relationships are really all we're here. We're always constantly in relationships, if not with people, with our environment, with animals and everything. And everything is energy, which you will learn about today. So a little bit about me. I've gotten into this. This is like my second career in life. I was a flight attendant for 28 years, left the airlines during the pandemic. Truly, I had a whole life. My whole life turned upside down in 2020 with a diagnosis of cancer, and left my marriage. I was separated, and also went to Mexico for holistic integrative cancer treatment, healed from cancer, and left my career all within 6 months' time. So I fell into depression. Thankfully, I joined a group coaching program with Heike and Evelina, who I met there, and super happy to have really had the support and guidance during this rough time of my life. What I learned from that coach was that we control our energy. We can actually shift it. And there are different things that we can do, what each of us as individuals. But for me, what I learned in that program was, because I was laying on the couch, my vibration frequency was super low. I was desperate and hopeless. I didn't know what I would do for work. I felt all alone. My son was not, I have one child and he was in between. So I was literally all alone in a house and not knowing what to do. And I don't want to cry, but it was a bad time. And thankfully for the coaching program, I had the positive guidance to shift my frequency. And how I did that was turn on the music and dance, move my body, shake it out, and lift my frequency by myself. And so I started to tune into frequency and tune into my body. And one email led me to another email, which led me to a book about emotions. And I started reading it. I was fascinated because I learned that there's this concept called heart walls. And I realized that my marriage was affected by this heart wall. And you'll learn about it in a little bit. But basically, there was this block between my husband and myself, and it just tore us apart. And so I got interested in this work. I started working with a practitioner to clear my life heart wall, my relationship heart wall, and eventually I became certified. And this has helped everything for me. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. But basically, this energy healing work is completely, more people need to hear about it because it can change lives. So let's jump out of my life and back into everyone's life and talk about relationships and a little bit about what can be the problems in our relationships that we're experiencing. So I'm going to share my screen, and then I'll open up for questions and answers right after. There we go. Okay, so if you're in the right place, you're in the right place if you experience any strained communication, lack of intimacy, you're triggered easily, you're feeling hopeless, you're having strong negative emotions, usually a lot of resentment, maybe anger, frustration, so many emotions in your relationships. You could have a hard time just opening it up and being yourself, maybe fear of judgment or criticism. You bury your emotions, you stuff them down because you don't want to deal with them, or because they're just too difficult, or again, you could be afraid of judgment or expressing yourself in a way that others won't be able to, like, this might ruin the relationship. So you bury emotions, you stuff them down, and all of this actually adds to the stress in your body. And uh, I'm going to go on to the next slide. So there are many obstacles to our relationships, but there's seven that are the most common. And I'm sure you've probably experienced a couple of these. I know I have. And the first one is having unclear or unrealistic expectations of our partner. That, sometimes we set the bar here, and the people in our lives can't get, they feel threatened or angry about the expectations that you set on them. So they could be unrealistic. Also, there could be a lack of communication, and your partner doesn't know if what it is that you want. What do you want? It's not communicated. And so they don't give you what you want because they don't really know. So that taps into this communication issue. Feeling unsupported in your relationships can come in many forms. Like maybe you feel taken for granted, and you just feel like you do so much and you're not being seen, you're not being supported. It could be financially, emotionally, physically supported even. Then the fourth one is your finances, and your relationships can really be torn apart if you and your partner are not on the same page around money, saving, spending, and all of that. And then the fifth relationship issue is infidelity. And this nowadays, in this new age, it can be as simple as, not so much physical cheating, but it could be an emotional affair that you have with somebody you idolize, or, on social media or something like that. It could be your relationships could be strained in that way. And the sixth way is boredom. When you're in a long-term relationship, it's hard to keep it juicy, sometimes for some people. And then the last one is sexual intimacy. And again, that could tie into boredom, but it could also mean, for me, as I'm going to talk about myself, like, life happens, right? And so menopause and other things, and for men there's erectile dysfunction, and so that makes intimacy difficult. Could be painful. It could be, I'll see, another thing is, a lot of people, some that I work with, have intimacy problems based on religion and how they were brought up, and how their parents put this idea of body shame or sex shame. And so that could also be a problem in your relationships, where it's not really coming from you. It's actually your life is being driven by other people's beliefs and values. So those are just some of them, some big ones, as you can see. Now, everything is energy. Now, this ties everything together, because emotions are energy, and I'll be going over that soon, but also your thoughts. So your thoughts create your words, right? And your words are energy, and that creates your situation and your life experience. So communication is energy. Your everything that we just talked about is energy. So whether it be, sorry, the dog's barking next door. But I'm going to teach you a little bit about this energy body that we have, because most people relate their lives to this physical experience, a 3D version of who they are. And that can be a problem as well, because like we talked about, like, connecting to our true essence is actually, there's these other layers to ourselves that we may not be familiar with, because we weren't educated in this way. So besides this physical body, we have this energy body, and we're actually electric-magnetic beings. Electromagnetic. Our minds are electric. Our hearts are magnetic. And so we also can find that when we have a physical problem in our body, it actually can be here before we feel it. So the work that I do actually cleanses this energy body so that we can be healthier, physically healthier, and emotionally as well. So besides this physical body, you have an etheric body, then you have an emotional body, a mental body, and a causal spiritual infinite body, because ultimately we are a soul. We are this energy of this soul energy, and part of who we are is the divine, is in us. It's in all of us. So no matter, and this doesn't go with, it doesn't have to be religious at all. It's just who we are, and we're all the same. So let me know if you have questions on this later, because for some people, this is just hard to grasp because it's new information. Okay, so now that we have this idea of our bodies being bigger than this, we have to see that what we give out, we're actually always giving out energy without us even realizing it. We're like a radio, and we're constantly telling people how to treat us and how we feel about ourselves. So this is important for us in relationships, because sometimes we push relationships away because of our energy. And so this can be fixed. Here we go. We're jumping in to talk about the emotions and how they can be scientifically measured, this energy. The lowest energy is shame at 20 hertz. The lower frequencies under 200 are the constricting energies. They literally make you feel constricted in your body and your life. And once you get to the 200 level, that's courage, then you start to rise up into higher frequencies, which allow you to have the best experiences of life. That's where love, peace, joy, happiness is. A better immune system. This is not here, but it's part of what I'm talking about. Is we have these things called chakras, which are energy centers in our body and outside as well. And these chakras move slow. When they're moving slower, that's when you can get sick. That's when your immune system is suffering. Different parts of your body could be maybe have an infection or a physical trauma energy that's present. So you want your chakras to be running at a good speed, because then these things called meridians, which it might be new to you as well. This might be a little too much information, but basically we have this energy highway that's going on, that's flowing through our bodies. And sometimes this energy can get stagnant and stuck, and not go through the chakras and go to the parts of the body that need some energy. So where I'm going with this is basically what seems so simple in our lives is actually really complex, because in order for us to raise our frequency, our body has to be harmonious, our mind, our spirit, all of them have to be at a good level so that we can start to resonate into a higher frequency. When we do that, we actually have the ability to manifest and call in a higher quality of life. But the challenge is to be happy in the mind, body, and spirit, and get them all in alignment so that we can raise up. So the majority of people in the world have a frequency lower than 200. And this was studied. This chart here is by Dr. David Hawkins, and he studied frequency in people, and he discovered that most people are in like between 150, 170, 180 up in there. So yeah. Now this ties into what Evelina does. Evelina is a hypnotherapist. She's here in the Zoom with us today. And this is talking, she works directly with the subconscious mind, as I do, because this is the key to unraveling what is going on in our bodies, because we all have this information inside of us. in our subconscious mind. As you can see from this slide, a lot of what we see in our conscious world is known to us maybe, but there's a huge amount of information in our subconscious mind that can help us change our lives. And what I mean by that is this energy that we are experiencing now in this life can be tapped in through muscle testing or kinesiology. We can tap into the subconscious mind and pull out what is the problem. Now, energetically, there are 6 different types of trapped emotions, and what we might be experiencing in this lifetime might be a common emotion. So say, for instance, we have had a fight with our partner, and so we have this anger towards them. That's a common emotion because we've experienced it in this lifetime. Now, we can also go in our car, go to the grocery store, and get in line, get to the grocery teller, the cashier, and she's having a bad day. And we can actually absorb her energy just by being in her space, in her aura space. We can absorb the energy from her. And we can actually take that on in our field. Then we also have prenatal emotions, which we receive when we're in our, not really, we actually, again, kind of absorb it from our parents when we're in our mother's womb. We sense what's going on outside of us, and we can actually take on the emotions of our parents and what's going on in their relationship. And sometimes this really makes a lot of difference for some people because prenatally they were exposed to a bad relationship between their parents, and they were witness to their struggle, and they actually take that on as well. There's inherited emotions, and to me this is one of the most awesome emotions to find, to detect and clear, because not only is this inherited emotion cleared from you, it's cleared from your mom or dad. I actually trace it back to the roots, how many generations it goes back, and then I also clear it from them all the way up. Sometimes it goes up over 100 generations. This energy, this pattern that we're experiencing in our lives is coming from a source we don't even know. Our ancestors are passing this down to us in their DNA. We're passing it on to our children. And that's why this pattern keeps going over and over and over in our lives, because we're continuing that energy. So when I clear it from you, I clear it from them, from your ancestors, from your children. This energy is cleared from you completely, and it can change lives. And then there's shared emotions. And during the pandemic, we all have shared emotions, especially if you were tuning into the news. You probably had shared fear, shared lack of control, shared anger. If you you might even know some people who have been impacted because of this shared emotion. There's still a lot of people walking around with masks in fear. So whenever we are in contact with other people who have this emotion, then we can actually be affected by it. And what I mean by shared is not just one person, it's a collective consciousness of people we don't even know, like people on the other side of the world who are listening to the same news broadcast as us. We can share this emotion together. And then the last type is preconceived. And these are past experiences of life, that the lessons that we want to learn. That's why we came here to learn lessons. And if we don't learn them from the past relationships, we literally carry them over to this life to learn. So, a lot of times people are experiencing in their relationships, we all experience rejection, and so that's just one emotion that we might be carrying over from a past life, so that we learn to handle that, to realize, to see rejection from a different perspective, and to actually heal our lives so that we can learn new things. So now, okay, back to this one. Now, as you can see here, there's a wall. The reason is all of these emotions can literally come together to form a wall around you. And it's known as the heart wall, which I mentioned earlier. And I learned that I had a heart wall in my relationship. And so it's made up of these layers and layers and layers of energy that our subconscious mind means well. It moves these energies around us, around our heart, to protect us. You see, most people have over 100 trapped emotions, this energy balls, the size of an orange or grapefruit. They're these balls of energy, emotional energy, that can get trapped in ourselves. And what happens is, when we trap them, later the subconscious mind will move them around our heart to protect us. And so, although it's meant as a good thing, it actually causes a barrier between us and our loved ones. So our communication suffers, our intimacy suffers. There's a big disconnect because of this energy wall. So removing your relationship heart wall is the quickest and easiest way to regain a deeper and loving connection. I will share with you my story. So in my relationship with my ex-husband, he would just say my name and I would get tense. And I believe it comes from, growing up, my relationship with my father, and this this role of a man is, in my mind, this is what I thought, the man's role. And I actually know when I shut myself down was the day before I got married. We were having a celebration, and we had a group, our family together, and we're going to have a meal, and we're going to say a prayer. And normally I say the prayer in my family. But on this day, my ex-husband said, you know what, I'll say the prayer, because whenever you pray, you go on and on and on and on. And literally that shut me down, because that judgment of my connection to the divine really affected me. And I became a new person. Like, I literally pushed myself down, thinking that I had to be somebody else in this marriage, that I had to be a subordinate. And so literally it's crazy how I actually felt whenever he said my name. He would say Gina, and I would tense up, and my name would trigger this tension and the stress in my body. And so after I became certified, it was an easy separation, yet our communication was still suffering, and we had to raise a son together. So I broke down my relationship heart wall with him, and all of a sudden, I don't feel triggered when he says my name. I feel very comfortable in our communication, in his presence. I feel like just like me. So it's helped me in my life with him, just feel even more forgiveness over things that have transpired in our relationship. And I feel more love, actually, towards him, and gratitude. It's huge. So there are many benefits to removing your relationship heart wall. Like I said, communication, remove physical pain, and also talking about pain. So if I was mentioning earlier that I had cancer in 2020, and truthfully, this kind of ties back to the story I just told you about shutting myself down and suppressing my emotions here in my throat chakra. Again, there's these chakras, it's the energy centers. There's one here in your throat, and that's your throat chakra. And when I suppressed my communication and my self-expression, this energy was here. And it eventually turned into cancer, which I realize now was a message from my body to just come into alignment with my true essence and be me. So there's many ways that you can benefit from releasing the heart wall. As you can see, basically it just puts you in alignment with your true self, and puts your body in harmony as well. So I believe that if you've been on this webinar up until this point, you are committed to having amazing relationships, as I am. So I'm going to share some testimonials of some people that I've worked with, and the lives that I've been able to help through this work. So let's see.
before working with Gina, I had a issue with my wife and stuff, and I used to cry every night for years and years. And then I called Gina, and she cleared some things in my heart. And after the first session, I stopped completely. I woke up in the morning, I was crying, not because I was crying because I did not cry for the first time. And yeah, Gina really helped me out a lot.
So with Kealoha, he not only improved his relationship with his wife, but he also, his business skyrocketed. They ran a business together. So as you can see, this tension in their relationship caused their business to suffer. Once they got their relationship back on track, boom, they're exploding. So it's amazing how, and everything is energy, even money, right?
I started working with Gina about a year ago. Initially, I worked on a heart wall with my kids, my daughter and my son. And my son was a lot more work because he's a teenage boy, and typical teenage boy. He doesn't talk, always in his room. And after we worked on the heart wall, he is more expressive, more talkative, and he likes to hang out now. Another heart wall that we worked on was with my partner. We were going to break up, and in desperate attempt, I asked Gina to work on emotion code healing, and it's just amazing. It's amazing. We made up. We're more kinder to each other, more loving, and the intimacy, in bed, it had gotten so. Gina and I worked on my life heart wall, but it's encompassing my whole life. And with that, we worked for about 3 months, and we had a session with 1 hour every Monday. And I can tell you guys, I've tripled the amount of money I make, my relationships with my children. I have a new circle of friends, and I'm just really grateful.
That's awesome. Yeah. So I'm so thankful I got to work with Grace, because we worked on many different things. So just to see that transformation come for her, in her life, it's huge.
My mom is a wonderful woman and I love her to pieces, but she, all through my life, has been very judgmental, very critical. She says harsh, judgy things that I have had to heal, heal these places for myself that have been hurt and all that kind of stuff. And so working with Gina has been an integral part of that healing process. She helped to break down my heart wall in that relationship area. And, prior to that breaking down of the heart wall, I found myself easily triggered, anxious, just uncomfortable, tiptoey around my mom. And that was really painful. One, it was painful because to feel those ways just doesn't feel good, period. But it was especially painful because to feel that way around my mom and about my mom, I didn't like that. Like, that doesn't feel good. And so I'm really grateful to Gina for working on that with me. And, now I can say that I do have a different relationship towards my mom. And the cool thing about it is that it's not like we sat down and had a therapy session together. I just got to have my heart wall removed, and that just somehow shifted the energy in a way that I just don't have that same feeling of anxiousness and that same like immediate triggering being around her. I'm just a lot more at ease, a lot more comfortable, just feeling a lot more safe to be myself around her. And if she says things that, are kind of upsetting, one, it either rolls off my back a little easier, or two, I'm just able to voice myself more rather than before, which was more like I would just be in silence and kind of like just taking the hits coming at me. I'm just more bold and empowered in myself, more at peace and more at ease. So thank you, Gina, for working with me on that.
Awesome. Yeah. So Kiri recently had a baby, 2 months old this week. And she she had 2 children previous, and she was on a path, like she was just going for it, just building her business. And then boom, she had found out she was pregnant again. And that, not really, I can't say devastated her, but it took her for a loop, because she wanted to build her business and she was focused here. And then she was pregnant and she's like, oh my God. So what I did was, actually, besides doing the emotion code to break down heart walls, I actually used the body code to help her in her relationship with her baby. And there, in the body code, there are literally places that we can find information about the baby, in the placenta, like if there's disconnections or any problems that could potentially be happening in her womb. So I was able to help her reconnect with this baby, and now they're so happy. The whole family's so happy. But that's life, right? Sometimes we get hit unexpectedly, and that can cause us to have relationship issues. And it's great that I'm able to use these tools on babies that are not even born yet. So, and it's important for the mom to know that the baby's in good state. So clearing your energy naturally shifts your relationship without your loved one's active participation. Like you heard Kiri say, she didn't have to sit down and talk and dish out all of the crap with her mom. Literally, I worked with her. I simply cleared the energy around her, and she's not triggered anymore. It's really simple, and it doesn't have to be a process that involves the other person. Another thing I like about this work is sometimes I'll be working with someone and they'll experience this with me, and they want their spouse to experience it as well for themselves, but their spouse doesn't want to like give up time or effort into the process, which is very common. And so the beauty of this is, all I need is an okay from them, and I can work on them remotely and send the notes to them what I was cleared. Another beautiful thing about this is I work with couples, and what they do is they take their notes and they talk about it. And they talk about, well, when I was 3 years old, this was, not some, they probably don't remember 3 years. When I was 12 years old, this is what happened. And this is why, so they talk about their past, and they talk about the emotions that are interfering with their present day relationship, and it's bringing them closer. So that's wonderful for everyone. So life is too short to be in mediocre relationships. And I know that you agree with that. We're blessed with this life, and it's up to us to take advantage of it and just continue to love and grow. So book a free call with me if you're curious to learn more about how this can work for you in your life, in any relationship, whether it be with your partner, your son, your mother, whatever it is. I can give you more information and let you know how I can help you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And now I'm going to open up to questions or feedback on the presentation. Anybody?
I would say that was really good, Gina.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Evelina. I like your haircut. It's cute. And nobody has questions. Great. Yeah, because sometimes for most people, they don't understand energy. They don't get it. Sometimes people even have fear of working with someone at a distance. They don't understand how we can be connected at a distance even. So it's great to have this knowledge so that they can build the confidence and the courage to move forward and take a chance and book a session so that they can feel it for themselves. Yeah. Thank you so much. And I will send you the recording. And yeah, I'm so happy that you were here. And I will see Corey for a session in a little bit, in a couple hours. Yay. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks for coming.